Okay, so you want to own a luxury watch brand. You picture a Swiss workshop, brass gears turning beneath a loop, and wealthy clients waiting months to pay $20,000 for something less accurate than the phone in their pocket. The product is tiny, the price is enormous, and a single tray can be worth more than a house. But a luxury watch is not valuable because it is difficult to tell time. It is valuable because the buyer believes the name on the dial will still mean something 10 years from now. You are not entering the business of manufacturing clocks. You are trying to manufacture belief, and belief is far more expensive to produce than steel. The first decision is what kind of brand you are building. At one end is the private label shortcut. You choose an existing case and movement, customize the dial, order a few hundred pieces, create dramatic photography, and call the result a new watch company. At the other end is a genuine manufacturer, designing movements, developing complications, hiring watchmakers, and promising repairs decades later. One version may launch for a few $100,000. The other can consume tens of millions before anyone sees a finished piece. Both can call themselves luxury. Only one may become an institution. Suppose you choose the middle path, a serious independent brand selling mechanical watches between $8,000 and $25,000. You do not build a factory immediately. One supplier produces the case, another makes the dial, another cuts the hands, another supplies the movement, and a separate atelier performs assembly. The mythology of one watchmaker making everything beneath a mountain is useful marketing, but the industry is really a network of specialists. Even Swiss-made is not merely a mood. The watch must satisfy legal conditions, including Swiss movement requirements, casing up and final inspection in Switzerland, with at least 60% of manufacturing costs generated there. Your first collection might contain 3 dial colors built around one case. That makes the launch look broad, without forcing you to engineer 3 different products. You order 500 watches at an average finished cost of $2,000 each. That is $1 million tied up before packaging, insurance, prototypes, rejected components, or salaries. Rejection matters. A microscopic scratch can ruin a dial, and a perfect movement arriving 6 months late can destroy the launch. Quality control becomes a second manufacturing process where you pay to discover which parts you already paid for cannot be sold. Now imagine the watch retails for $12,000. The beginner sees a $2,000 production cost and thinks the brand earns $10,000. That is fantasy. Sell through an authorized retailer, and a large share of the price remains with the store. The dealer provides security, inventory financing, and access to customers who trust that store. Your brand may receive around $7,000 before production, logistics, warranties, marketing, and unsold stock. Direct sales preserve more margin, but force you to acquire the customer yourself. The middleman is really a trust machine. Established brands increasingly open their own boutiques because direct sales capture more margin, collect customer data, and allow the brand to decide who receives scarce models. But a prestigious store brings rent, security, staff, and years of fixed costs. Customers still want to try the watch and feel that the purchase is an event. More than 60% in Deloitte's 2025 study preferred buying in stores. The boutique also cannot appear desperate. If everything is available, customers ask for discounts. If the best model is unavailable, they ask to join a waiting list. Scarcity turns a product into access. But scarcity only works after people care. An unknown brand producing 200 watches is not exclusive. It is simply small. You need collectors, journalists, retailers, celebrities, and existing owners to repeat the story until it becomes true. That means years of spending on events, photography, ambassadors, and watches loaned to people who may never mention them. Steel creates the object. The surrounding story creates the price. At the low end, buyers compare features. At the high end, they investigate credibility. The movement is where many new brands overspend. Developing an original mechanical caliber sounds like the ultimate proof of legitimacy, but it is also a financial trap. Engineering takes years, prototypes fail, and a beautiful movement must survive shocks, magnetism, neglect, and careless owners. Once sold, it becomes a promise that may outlive the company. A customer paying $20,000 expects parts to exist 20 years later. The service department is therefore a long-term liability created every time revenue enters the business. A sensible young brand may begin with a proven movement and invest in the case, dial, finishing, and design. Then there is inventory, the quiet killer. Fashion companies can discount old clothes and move on. A luxury watch brand cannot dump last year's collection at half price without punishing every customer who paid full price. Unsold watches often leak into the gray market through distributors or retailers desperate to recover cash. They appear online as unworn at 30% below retail. Customers see the discount and refuse to buy from authorized stores. Retailers stop ordering. Buyers also check resale prices before entering the boutique. The speculative boom has cooled, and the market has become more selective. Rolex remains the anchor, while Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet now face a more cautious collector market. A new brand competes not only against new watches, but against used watches carrying a century of trust. Now run the numbers on your first serious year. You produce 500 watches and sell 300. At average wholesale revenue of $7,000, the brand generates $2.1 million. Manufacturing those sold watches costs $600,000, which looks excellent until the rest of the company arrives. A small design, operations, sales, and service team may consume $700,000. Marketing, events, travel, samples, photography, insurance, logistics, warranty repairs, and legal work can absorb another $600,000. You might show a small operating profit, but 200 unsold watches still represent $400,000 of cash trapped in boxes. On paper, you survived. In the bank account, you may be nearly empty. The second year is harder because novelty has expired. Retailers now want proof that customers return. Journalists want something new. Existing owners need service. Suppliers want larger commitments. You must either create another watch and trap more cash in inventory, or keep selling the original and risk looking inactive. Luxury brands cannot move quickly, but they cannot disappear. They must move slowly while remaining constantly visible, perhaps the most expensive speed in business. The wider industry is becoming more polarized. Swiss export volumes have fallen over time even as value moved upward, meaning fewer watches carry more money. Mechanical pieces generated most export turnover in the first half of 2025, while the top end remained strongest. Estimates suggested that 4 brands controlled more than half of the Swiss market, and watches above 50,000 francs produced enormous value from very few units. This is good news if you already own a powerful name. It is terrifying if you are trying to create one. So how does a small brand break through? Usually not by trying to look like a smaller Rolex. It wins by becoming unusually specific. A strange complication, a recognizable case, an obsessive dial technique, radical transparency, a founder with genuine authority, or a production method competitors cannot easily copy. The customer must recognize the watch from across a room. In luxury, being tasteful is not enough. Tasteful often means invisible, and invisible brands do not survive. If everything works, the economics become extraordinary. Tooling is paid off. Suppliers improve terms. Direct sales grow. Existing collectors buy a second watch. Retailers begin requesting inventory instead of being persuaded to accept it. Limited production protects pricing, and every watch already on a customer's wrist becomes unpaid advertising. The brand can raise prices faster than costs because the customer is no longer buying materials. They are buying membership in a story that other people recognize. But if that story breaks through a failed launch, quality problem, aggressive discounting, or dishonest production claim, the physical product cannot save you. Reputation takes years to assemble, and one small failure can stop the entire machine. So, can owning a luxury watch brand make you rich? Absolutely. A watch costing a few $1,000s to produce can sell for many times that amount, and a respected name may become worth more than its factories or annual profit. But the margin is not payment for metal and gears. It is payment for credibility compressed into something small enough to fit on a wrist. The real product is confidence that the design will matter, the company will answer the phone, and the market will respect the name years later. You can outsource the case, dial, movement, strap, and assembly. You can never outsource the reason anyone should care.